Hello guys and welcome to my channel. You guys don't know how excited I am to be filming this video. I've had this channel for like 2 or 3 years now, but things in my life back then just didn't feel right. It's nothing that even bad was going on. I just felt like I couldn't sit down and make a video for you guys. But now everything feels right again. I feel happy. I feel like I could just sit down and make a bunch of videos. And yeah, I'm really excited to be starting up this channel and making videos for you guys, so I hope you are too. And if you can't tell by today's video title, I'm actually going to be doing true crime content on this channel, and that is something, again, I am very excited for. It is something I'm very passionate about and I want to spread awareness about, and that's why today's case in particular is, again, very important because it shaped a lot of the laws that we have today. I'm sure a lot of you guys would know it, and that is the case of Amber Hagerman. And before I get too far into it, I just want to say that anything I talk about is from online sources and documentaries I found, and any theories are just theories and nothing more. And with that, let's get on into the video. Amber Hagerman was born on November 25, 1986 in Arlington, Texas. Her mother, Donna, gave birth to Amber when she was a young adult, and to her, she was a miracle baby. This is because when Donna was just a teenager, she actually had a rare illness that paralyzed her from the waist down. Doctors told her she wouldn't be able to walk again, let alone have children, but she proved them wrong when she had Amber at just 19 years old. Amber was described as being your all-American typical girl. She was in the Girl Scouts and she loved riding her bike with her friends and just being outside and enjoying outdoor activities. A few years after Amber was born, Donna actually gave birth to her second child, Ricky, and Amber absolutely loved him. They were described as literally inseparable as they were growing up. Whenever someone would see one of them, they would most likely see the other one with them, just because they loved spending time together and playing together and just being around one another. They were more of best friends than they were siblings. In 1994, when Amber was just 8 years old, her parents, Donna and Richard, actually ended up separating, and Donna took both Amber and Ricky and they moved into a women's shelter. From what I could tell from this point on, they didn't really have any contact with their father. I couldn't find a lot of information on Richard in general, but from what I could tell, they didn't talk to him or have any physical contact with him. It was just Donna who would take care of both Amber and Ricky. Now, although Donna was now a single mom and raising Amber and Ricky all on her own, she was really doing anything she could to give them the best life possible. She actually started going back to school and getting training done so she could make more money for them. And although, like I said, she had very little money, she was doing anything she could to make birthdays and Christmases and just any special occasions very special for the kids. Just a few months before Amber disappeared on her 9th birthday, Donna actually went out and got Amber clothes and bedsheets from her favorite movie, Pocahontas. And when Amber opened these presents, she was so excited and happy, and she was just so thankful for what her mom had done for her. And even though things were looking up for Donna with her going back to school and starting a new career and everything, something truly tragic would happen that would change their lives forever. It was January 13th, 1996, and like many other days, Donna decided to take Amber and Ricky to their grandparents to play for a little bit. Like I said, this was something they did quite often from what I could tell. Their grandparents didn't live too far away from them, so it was a very short drive. They arrived at about 3 p.m. and right away, Amber and Ricky asked if they could go outside and ride their bikes. And like I said, this was something they did very often when they went to their grandparents, so Donna didn't give it much of a thought, and she said that they could go. Although Donna said that they could go, she told them she only wanted them going around the block, and the kids agreed to this, so at about 3:10, they left on their bikes. After only a couple minutes of riding their bikes, Amber actually started to get bored, and her and Ricky actually went another block over to the Winn-Dixie grocery store. Now, this grocery store was actually abandoned, and it was a popular spot for kids to hang out at because there was a bike ramp in the parking lot, so kids would take their bikes there and ride on the bike ramp. Now, after a few minutes of riding their bikes there, Ricky actually started to worry that Donna or his grandparents would find out that they broke the rules and they went another block. So he decided he actually wanted to go home. But when he told Amber this, Amber didn't want to go home. So she ended up staying there, and Ricky decided to ride the short distance back to the house. Now, once he got back to the house, obviously Donna and his grandparents wondered where Amber had went, and he told them what had happened and how they had went another block away. Now, of course, when they had heard this, they weren't too happy about this. I mean, the kids did break the rules, but they told Ricky to just go back to the grocery store and get Amber and bring her home. So that's exactly what he did. He rode the short distance back to the Winn-Dixie grocery store, but when he got there, Amber was nowhere to be found. So again, he rode back to the house and he told his mom and grandparents what had happened. So this time, Jimmy, Amber's grandpa, decided to go to the Winn-Dixie grocery store to bring Amber home. But upon arriving there, all he saw were police cars. Police had actually just gotten there after responding to a call from a 78-year-old man named Jim Kevel who lived right by the grocery store and said that he had witnessed an abduction. He said he had been outside in his garden when he saw a black pickup truck pull up and grab a little girl off her bike and force her into the truck. And real quick, I am just going to read off his official statement that he told police. His official statement was, "I saw her riding up and down. She was by herself. I saw this black pickup. He pulled up, jumped out, and grabbed her. When she screamed, I figured the police ought to know about it, so I called them." He described the truck, as I said before, black, but he said it was possibly like a darker color, just like a dark blue or just something very dark. And he described the man that got out of the truck as being white or even possibly Hispanic. He also said that the man was just under 6 feet tall with a medium build. So obviously this description isn't the best. I'm sure in Arlington, Texas, there are a lot of people that fit this description, so police decided to question people around the neighborhood. They also decided to question Ricky because he was there just minutes before Amber was abducted, but unfortunately he couldn't remember anything, and nobody else in the neighborhood saw anything except, like I said, Jim Kevel. Arlington Sergeant Mark Simpson led the investigation and looked into any known sex offenders in the area, but unfortunately, like everything else so far, nothing was found. Search parties began looking for Amber, and the next day, her picture was everywhere. They were hoping that by putting this out there, somebody might come forward that had witnessed the kidnapping. At this point, Richard was called because they wanted to make sure he didn't have anything to do with Amber's disappearance. Because a lot of times in child abductions, the child will be abducted by somebody they know, but from what I could tell, he was cleared right away. Again, I don't have a lot of information on Richard, but at this point he did join in searching for Amber. At this point, police worried that Amber wasn't even in Texas anymore and the FBI were called in, but unfortunately they weren't there long until something was discovered. On January 17th, just 4 days after Amber had been abducted, a man called the police saying he thought he had found a body face down in a creek. This man had actually been out walking his dog when he was passing by the creek, and that's when he saw a body and he called the police. Now, it didn't take long for police to confirm that this was in fact Amber, due to her physical description, and also the creek that her body was found in was only 4 miles away from the grocery store that she was abducted from. When she was found, the only thing she had been wearing was a sock, and she had a very deep cut along her throat, which was assumed to be her cause of death. The medical examiner wasn't able to determine how long exactly Amber's body had been in the creek, but maintenance workers had been in the area just the day before Amber's body had been found and hadn't seen anything, but also that previous night there had been a pretty bad storm, which actually would have caused the creek to rise, making it possible that someone had dumped her body upstream and then she'd moved there during the storm. An autopsy was performed, and it was actually determined that Amber had been kept alive for 2 days after she had been abducted. Unfortunately, it was also determined that she had been assaulted during this time and that her cause of death was due to the cut on her throat. Now, when Amber's body was found, her family was notified just so they could come down and confirm it was her, which was just really awful because when Donna did come in to see Amber and confirm it was her, she just wanted to pick her up and hold her, but the cut on her throat was so deep that she couldn't even do that. At this point, Sergeant Mark Simpson actually created a task force of more than 50 detectives to figure out who had done this to Amber. And I know sometimes you'll see, and I'm sure I'll talk about in the future, of like crappy police work where the police don't look into like every single thing, but with this case, police really did everything that they possibly could. Every possible lead that came in, they looked into, and they've gotten thousands and thousands of leads. They actually theorized that something triggered the person that had taken Amber and that this was a crime of opportunity and not something that had been planned in advance. They thought it was possible that this person had maybe lost their job or went through a divorce or breakup. They put this information out hoping someone would come forward with something, and even a $75,000 reward was put up, but still no one came forward. A funeral service was held for Amber on January 19th, and so many people in the community came, and even people outside of the community came to show their support as well. In the days after Amber's funeral, not only was Donna pushing for stricter laws, but a lot of people in the community were as well. A fellow mother named Diane, who had actually never met Amber before, had called a local radio station with an idea. She said if broadcasters can alert the public to severe weather, then why not do the same when a child is abducted? She continued by saying Amber was taken at 3 in the afternoon, thrown in a pickup truck, and nobody saw anything. I'm sorry, that's not possible. The problem was not that people didn't see them, it's that they didn't know what they were seeing. And a lot of people agreed with this and really rallied behind Diane, and this actually worked. Later in 1996, broadcasters in the Dallas area partnered with law enforcement so that when a child was abducted, it would be broadcasted all over the radio. As I said before, Donna was also pushing for stricter laws, and her and Richard actually began collecting signatures in Texas that would create more severe laws for sex offenders. This also caught the attention of Congressman Martin Frost and Mark Klass, whose own daughter had went missing and gained national attention from. Now, Martin had actually already been working on these stricter laws, so when he saw Amber's case and he saw how hard Donna and Richard were both pushing for stricter laws and the same thing he was doing, he thought that they could all work together and really push for something to be done. Together, they drafted what is known as the Amber Hagerman Child Protection Act, which they actually decided to take to Congress. With the help of Martin Frost, in June of 1996, Donna actually went in front of the United States Congress and told them about Amber and pleaded for stricter laws, and then Martin presented the Amber Hagerman Child Protection Act. Now, obviously, this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It takes quite a while for a bill to be passed. But in October of 1996, the president at the time, Bill Clinton, actually signed this bill into law. This law increases the penalties for sexual crimes against children and further goes on by saying that if a defendant that was previously convicted of a sexual crime against a child would reoffend and do the same crime, that they're able to give them life in prison. And then in 1998, the Child Alert Foundation was created, and this would essentially be the start of Amber Alerts as we know them. This foundation would help law enforcement across every state notify their communities as well as surrounding communities when a child was abducted. Now, not only were they being sent to radio stations, but they were being sent to TV stations, newspapers, and even police stations in surrounding communities. In 2001, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children started a campaign that said Amber Alert system should be established nationwide. In the following year, in 2002, the Federal Communications Commission officially endorsed it. This is where things really started to pick up, and in that same year, the White House held its first ever conference for missing, exploited, and runaway children. It was at this conference that the president at the time, George W. Bush, announced that his administration would be taking action to help further the Amber Alert system. In 2003, George W. Bush signed the PROTECT Act into law, which would help law enforcement in investigating and prosecuting violent crimes against kids. This bill also provided $25 million to help states in establishing their own Amber Alert systems. And at this point, restrictions were being made on what exactly was needed to issue an Amber Alert. So for an Amber Alert to be issued, it has to follow a certain criteria. Firstly, the child has to be under the age of 17, as that is the age limit an Amber Alert can be issued. Then the police have to confirm that an abduction did indeed take place. Then they need to make sure the child is in immediate danger. Finally, they need to have enough descriptive information about the child that was abducted, along with the abduction itself. And once all of these are met, the Amber Alert then gets sent out. The Amber Alert consists of the child's name and physical description of them, like their hair color, eye color, height, and weight. It also includes a description of the person that is suspected to have abducted them, as well as what their car looks like and license plate if the police have this information. They get sent to people's phones, on billboards, and of course through radio stations. They'll mostly get sent around the area that the child was abducted from, but because of growing technology and of course social media like Twitter, Facebook, and basically just any other social media, you could be halfway across the world and still see the Amber Alert. By 2005, all 50 states had established their own Amber Alert systems, and even other countries have started using it as well. Now, not only was the Amber Alert system being used nationwide, but it also bared the little girl's name who had started this all, which is Amber. Amber and Amber Alert is actually a backronym, and it stands for America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response. In 2016, 20 years after Amber's disappearance, a press conference was held where police pleaded and asked for answers. Detective Ben Lopez, who was a patrol officer when Amber was abducted and helped for months in her disappearance, now is in charge of the case and said he still investigates the couple leads they get every month and will continue to work on this case and won't give up on finding justice for Amber. The task force that I had mentioned earlier that Mark Simpson had formed eventually did disband, and he eventually retired, but he still continues to talk about Amber's case. And as recently as 2017, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, actually announced that January 13th be declared as Amber Alert Awareness Day. A mural was also put up behind the Winn-Dixie grocery store to honor Amber. It included some of her favorite things, such as bears, butterflies, and flowers. And that's basically where we're at now. Like I said, this case is still open and active, and anyone that has any information is supposed to call the Arlington Police Department. Now, this is the part where I'd usually like to talk about theories, but in this case, there really aren't any theories. I mean, there is the theory that I had mentioned earlier that police had said that this was a crime of opportunity and not something planned. But again, this really doesn't give us any information on who did it. But other than that, we really don't have anything else to go off of. With really no evidence, though, and no concrete leads, police are determined and think that they will solve this case one day. Like I said before, Ben Lopez, who is now in charge of this case, still looks into every lead that they get, and he is confident that this case will be solved one day. Which, for Donna and Ricky's sake, I really hope that this case does get solved, because it's been almost 25 years since Amber has disappeared, and they deserve some kind of closure. I read somewhere that Donna said it's bittersweet because even though so many kids have been saved because of Amber Alerts, they still don't know who did this to Amber. This is where I'm going to end this video, and I just want to leave it off by saying to please share Amber's name and her story so that one day this case will be solved. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope you like that I included a bunch of pictures. I'm kind of more of a visual learner, and I like it when I see a lot of pictures in a video. I don't know, that's just me. Please let me know down in the comments if you liked it or not, and please let me know in the comments, too, what you think about this case. Anyways, that's it for me today, guys. I'll see you in my next video.